Following a drama overnight of canoe public diplomacy, how covered months of winding talks, Europe Committee CEO Jean-Claude Juncker and UK Main Secretary Theresa May announced the breakout at an previous night-click meeting in Brussels. Critically, the two sides achieved a transactions on the historic susceptible question of the Irish boundary, that had endangered to disrupt the negotiations as they achieved a crucial time over the 1 week. Discussions can now go on to the potential stricter question of a next trade relation among the UK and the EU. The breakout represents a considerable coup for May, whose besieged premiership had emerging by risk as negotiations faltered. It was as well a ease for EU negotiators, who afraid a full collapse in negotiations if a transactions was not made. Receive to the spot require offer and get on both of sides, May told. Or I trust the collaborative paper How is Creature published is in the top concern of the entire of the UK, which has been coordinated. Treaty has now been achieved on three key issues: Britain's Brexit divorce rate draft, the rights of EU countrymen in the UK following Brexit, and the Irish boundary. While Brexit talks began fair by 6 months back, the EU was precise on its stance. It would not face any debate on a next trade relation in Britain before adequate advance had been done on such three issues. Irish boundary, the Irish issue proven the hardest to solve. The demilitarisation of the boundary among Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland was a key item of the Nice Friday Treaty, the 1998 transactions how ended year of sect dispute in Northern Ireland. Currently, the boundary posts are lost and human beings can go easily about the Isle of Ireland. But Brexit grown the perspective of a back to a difficult boundary, as Northern Ireland would keep the EU time the Republic of Ireland remained in the bloc. Complicating the question, May's minority group by the government depends on the supporting of on a little team of 10 MPs of Northern Ireland, members of the uncompromising more democratic trade unionist side, duplicate. They were categorically opposed to any proposal how, to escape a difficult boundary, Northern Ireland could hold laws and regulation how were more than verified to the EU rather than the otherwise of the UK. The DUP vetoed the lyrics of an over transactions on Monday, fair as May was possessing dinner in Juncker in Brussels to complete it. She was constrained to back to London as negotiators consumable the otherwise of the 1 week, forging out a decision reasonable to the duplicate, the Irish by the government and the EU. The tongue of the transactions announced on Friday remnant controversial. It says, in the lack of coordinated solutions, the UK will support complete adjustment in such rules of the domestic marketplace and the Customs Officer Association that, now or in the next, supporting Polar South collaboration, the All-Island economics and the protect of the 1998 treaty. How's a supporting it tool how, in the following phase of negotiations, the UK must go up in solutions how escape a difficult boundary. Differently the UK will include to stay connected to EU rules though following Brexit. How script would infuriate the hot Brexiters in May's prudent side. Divorce rate draft, Friday's treaty says the UK would be required to go on manufacturing contributions to the EU budgeting up to the end of 2020 as if it had remained in the association. The paper adds how the UK will stay exposed for its eminent finance commitments and liabilities up to December 3, 2020. A representative for the UK by the government put the alleged net price of the divorce rate draft at among £35 trillion and £39 trillion, $47 trillion and $52 trillion, addition how the assessment represents a equitable community of our two rights of EU countrymen following Brexit. EU countrymen residing in the UK and defect vice versa will include his rights to dwell, job and research secured. UK courts will force the rights yet, in a session to Europe, the UK has coordinated how hard cases can be called to the Europe trial of judiciary for 8 years following Brexit. Deceased night AMD discussions extended in the previous several hours of Monday night. While it was precise how a transactions was made, May and her head Brexit mediator David Davis dashed to Brussels for a lunch meet in Juncker and some officials. Talk near Juncker in the Belgium Equity, May told the treaty was equitable to the UK payer and solved the eminent issues of the Irish boundary. In Northern Ireland we will warranty where will be no difficult boundary, and we will maintain the Nice Friday Treaty. No obstacle polar south or east-west, she told. Juncker told, adequate advance has now been done on the 3 regulation of the divorce rate. Talks for the UK to keep the EU can now begin to the following phase, he added. If treaty had not been achieved on Friday, it would include been unfeasible to get ready for its ratifying at a summit conference of EU leaders on December 14 and 15, he told. We had to do the transactions present. Response: the lead of the duplicate, Arlene Encourage, declared she had provided significant changes to the lyrics she discarded on Monday. Addition: she was happy to see changes that indicate where is no red link downward the Irish Ocean. Ireland's Main Secretary Leo Varadkar told how the UK had guarantee where would be no difficult boundary and how the 1998 Nice Friday Treaty had been completely secured. He's a really considerable day for the Isle of Ireland, he told. Varadkar added how the overall journey region, the location how allows countrymen to journey easily among Britain and Ireland, would stay in location and how Irish and UK countrymen would go on to delight the identical rights following Brexit as they do currently. In London, the response of May's associate was generally favourable. UK Environmental Registrar Michael Gove, one of the guideline figures in the Keep Camping for the Brexit plebiscite, told, I believe he's essential to identify the as a considerable private policy accomplishment for the Main Secretary. But ex-UKIP lead Nigel Farage, who has length championed Brexit, embattled May above the transactions, pretending the nation could now go on to the following phase of indignity. Donald Incisor, CEO of the Europe Justice, alerted how the following phase of talks would be though stricter. Breakup is difficult, but breakup and how's new relations is lot stronger, he told.